the serpent guy in the Book of the Jungle.
Yeah, with the eyes.
One of the most ancient yoga texts says that the Kundalini obstructs the nadis, and they brought ideas about control,
Yeah.
manipulation. So, can you unbind the belt of Orion? Means, can you go through all these tricks of the fallen ones and go back to the primordial origin?
Wow.
This Bene Elohim, no? The sons of Elohim, which technically translated would be like the sons of the stars, because Elohim are the stars. According to the Zohar, before those angels fell, they were in harmony. They were an intelligence meant to bring wisdom into the earth. The Bene Elohim were forces, or they were intelligences that in the beginning brought union in the earth. When the earth was in union, everyone spoke one language, there were no wars, but something happened, the Tower of Babel.
Mm.
It's interesting that many of the ideas they brought are about separating society in masters and slaves, lords
Yeah.
and slaves, or owners and those who are owned. And they brought ideas about control,
Yeah.
manipulation, the manipulation of the energy. It's very famous, the theme of the Kundalini, which surprisingly, even yoga experts or self-proclaimed yoga experts say it's necessary to evolve, like the Sadguru, no? Worships a serpent, no? Like all the idolaters all over the world.
Yeah.
Everyone is clapping, no? But one of the most ancient yoga texts says that the Kundalini obstructs the nadis, the conduits through which the prana or universal energy flows. Or even Gurjer, no? He said that the Kundalini is the power of imagination, fantasy. So it's an obstacle. It's not something we should consider as necessary for evolution. And occultists and ignorant yogis or ignorant saints, as he said,
Hmm.
mistake it for a very high force of transformation.
Right.
I think that's part of the lie or the misconception brought by these people.
Yeah. It's because if you get, stuck in a place of pure imagination, it could it could seem like, nirvana or the highest realm or whatever you think it is in your own imagination, and there you sit, you know what I mean? And you could even, you know, uh have the best intentions and try to tell people, oh no, this is it. This is where you want to be, you know what I mean? But, it's really you're fooling yourself, or you're lying to yourself, or you're not allowing yourself the full potential, you know what I mean? You cap the potential.
There is a sort of inflation or a state in which you believe something is growing in terms of spiritual energy, but it's an effect, like the serpents, not that sometimes move and they generate a hypnotic sensation of
There it is. Yes.
attack. It's a sort of ego inflation that can feel good. You feel good sometimes and
Yeah.
take that for spiritual energy. As people say, no, I'm having a racing on the Kundalini.
Yeah.
You are really.
You know,
We should look for the neutralization of the Kundalini. It's actually
the balance, yeah, not a high. You're not looking for a high, but it is the highest of the highs, but it's also a perfect balance. You
that's
know what I mean? You're not looking for a temporary high that comes and goes. You know what I mean? That's and you see every time a snake represents something, I think you should be curious about really, um, what it is, that it's trying to represent. because you got so many tales of that snakes are involved in, like in the garden, the serpent tempted Adam or Eve, and then Eve in turn tempted Adam, and there it goes right there. I mean, that's the Kundalini in a sense, because here comes this serpent energy, and then it convinces the woman, and then the woman may use her sexual energy to woe the man, you know what I mean, or vice versa. But and then as Moses lifted up the serpent in the desert, you know what I mean, so must the Son of Man be lifted up. What's that all about, you know what I mean? So and then when that happened in the garden, to revert back to that, the Elohim punished the serpent and said, now you must be like this, slither on the ground for all your days. So yeah, every time and then you got the Orobos eating its tail, and then yeah, we all know that's another symbol that uses the snake.
Yeah, and the snakes are hunting animals. They live in cracks or caves or under the earth.
Yeah, camouflaged and
Hypnotic. The serpent guy in the Book of the Jungle.
yeah, with the eyes. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
In the Egyptian religion is the vital part of the soul.
Right.
So
And
now genetics as well.
yeah, and it's but the ka and the ba,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. That's just another energy that needs to be reintegrated or balanced.
I think we should distinguish between Kundalini and energy of the serpent in general, or even seraphic energy, because the seraphs that are worshipping the Holy One, protecting the throne, are like serpent-like beings, but they are an expression of divine law. Whereas the serpent energy that is trapped in the Euro world, which is the SOS,
yeah,
and operative system,
absolutely,
is distorted, is twisted. I
yeah.
think a sort of egotistic energy.
And then I think you got right there. I think you hit on something with the dualism of the serpent energy and the and those that the seraphim that protect over the Ark of the Covenant. Is that what you were saying?
The throne, well, that's a symbol.
And then you have the fallen angels and the angels that didn't fall, so to say, but came to help, but are in a fallen situation after they came to help.
Yeah, that's the reason why we should distinguish between the energy of the serpent and these helpers.
Yes, absolutely.
I think what made some intelligences make the mistake was the energy of the serpent, which is a sort of coiling ego inside oneself, when the ego should serve the holy being in ourselves. So the ego is not bad in itself, because somehow egoic manifestations help us manifest a personality or an idiosyncratic expression. And in a sense, that's necessary, because otherwise everyone would be the same. We would not have differences. Everything would be an ocean of undifferentiated light, and that's very boring. I remember being in that ocean and coming from there, but now I understand that in a book of forms, you need an energy that is somehow expansive and creative imaginative, which I think is the energy of the serpent. But what the architects did, like in Proverbs 9, Sophia, the wisdom of the serpent, built her own house, raised her 7 pillars, set the table, killed her victims, mixed her wine, is when they are starting to experiment, and they were probably draconian architects or serpent-like being draconian or creatures, and they made mistakes, and obviously, in their worlds, serpent energy gets stuck. I think that's what we can call the SOS, serpent's operating system, which is also an SOS because life trapped inside is asking for help.
Help. Yes.
So even when some angels came to help, maybe hearing the SOS or thinking that they could do better, they got trapped as well within the system. The Ouroboros, I think that's the Ouroboros.
Absolutely.
But in a sense, this Ouroboros, as it is a closed system, is somehow protecting other parts of the universe from experimenting death or entropy. Most part of the universe is not entropic. It's syntropic, is the opposite.
Wow.
The prefix syn is conjunction or together. No? And tropic comes from tropos, which is movement. So it's a co-movement of interdependence, like in the tree of life. Whereas in the entropic system, everything is close. The stronger attacks the weaker, the greater each one eats up the smaller. So it's a system that runs out of energy. Everything gets cool because there is no growth of love or warmth. So entropy is becoming colder and colder, aloof, like the serpent.
Yeah, cold-blooded.
Exactly. The other day, I watched a video which is very funny. I never used to like cats. Now I'm changing. I saw a serpent creeping little by little towards a cat. And when she was in front of the cat, she raised and started doing like that, and the cat didn't move. It just looked at the serpent and
Yeah.
with the right paw in a very fast way.
Oh yeah. They're
When the serpent had started to open the mouth and jump into the face of the cat,
yeah.
very tranquilly did like that.
End of story. Cat-like reflexes.
Exactly. And they have a special reflex.
No, absolutely.
I think that they have round pupils, but sometimes they get like
Yeah.
snakes.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I didn't like them.
Yeah, their eyes are wild. That's because I think nature. I was just reading about that. That nature gave different shape eyes to different uh creatures, so to say, so they could handle their habitat a little better. So they could see stuff coming out. They got more peripheral, or or I forget what animal it was that could see like almost like 300 degrees or something, like around, or maybe it was a bee or a fly or something like that. Like a bee could see something coming, you know.
Chameleon. Chameleon has eyes that
A chameleon, yeah, they could see all around. But yeah, cat eyes are wild. And that's like Egyptians, the Egyptian culture was fascinated with cats. They
well,
they like their cats, so there's something there because
I
yeah,
think,
the Sphinx is a giant cat, I think, so to say.
really. Mm,
I don't know. Is it a cat?
I think it was probably
Cat paw or something with a different head?
the paws are from a lion.
Oh, see, it's a cat. Yeah, big cat.
The body, it might be from a bull.
Okay.
The face from a man, which, if you notice, has uh, big lips like Afro American. Some say it was a dog.
Mm.
I'm not sure because of Sirius, no? The dog.
Yeah.
Mm, maybe, but uh, it probably was a classical sphinx. The eagle, the bull, the lion, man,
Yeah.
breasts, the
Yeah. And some say too that that the head ain't original because it's not proportioned with the body, and how the Egyptians were very proportional, very mathematical in everything that they did. And they said it because the head is a somewhat, unproportional to the body. They said it was recarved at one time.
yes, Robert Salk and John Anthony West were doing a lot of research on that, and it was proven that there are water erosion marks in the surrounding parts, but well, it's probably older than Egyptologists suggest. But I think, as Gurdjieff says, it was an emblem or sort of inspirational monument to to promote evolution of consciousness, developing love, the strength of the bull, the elevational aspect of thinking, no? The conscience of an integral man, and all that somehow was present in different cultures because we have sphinxes in Greece. There were sphinxes in Mesopotamia or something of that sort. They were not exactly like the one in Egypt, but they have sphinx-like creatures.
Mm. Yeah,
Monkeys.
the Aztecs too on their temple, don't they have when you in a certain light you could see the snake coming down the
Yes,
s- the steps? No, that's a snake. There was a snake. I was switching topics there, and I think that they had one of their gods was a leopard. I think also
mhm. It's a sort of creature that represents audacity or strength.
it's the battle between the cats and the snakes,
Mhm. Yes,
and we're stuck here in the middle.
we all have those natures inside.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I think that's what the project of Adam. Adam was meant to integrate all kingdoms,
Hmm.
the angelic, but not remain in the angelic. To go beyond is the goal. Because Adam in itself is the emanation from the Holy One, the name of the Holy One. If you spell the word Yud He, which means was, is, and will be, the fullness, you get the same value, 45,
Hmm.
the value of Adam.
Yeah,
And Adam is Aleph plus Dam, which means blood. It's interesting because in English, Dam is something done. No?
yeah. It's derogatory.
There is something very strange with language because it seems even the logos, the universal logos, is telling a story through languages, both negative and positive. Is revealing the truth somehow through languages, and that's part of the fall of the Tower of Babel. But many languages came out of it, and people don't understand each other many times because of different language.
Yeah. Even, you know, you could have the best intentions, explain yourself in the most peaceful, positive way that you could think of, and pick the right words so you think, and then somebody could still misunderstand what you're trying to say, misrepresent what you're trying to say. And I think that's why they say actions speak louder than words, and that you will know the tree by its fruit. A tree don't talk; it just produces fruit. You know what I mean? And talking can get you in trouble sometimes. You know, you talk too much and you get yourself, caught up in some type of a situation that you was just, making small talk or just trying to be friendly or something, It's just
That's very much connected with the bipolar sense of certain languages and words, such as the question made by the serpent to the woman in the garden.
yeah.
So did Yudhwab Elohim told you not to eat from the trees? And she says, no, we can eat from all the trees except from the tree of knowledge of good and deficient. And then she says, well, they don't want you to be like Elohim. And that's interesting because Elohim, to be like Elohim means to be like astral beings or astral intelligence or who was the serpent referring to?
Right.
Powerful ones, no Elohim. But somehow they were Elohim already because Adam was part of all the intelligences. Adam had everything inside. So it's very tricky, deceptive, the way Sophia, which is that sort of intelligence from the serpent, addresses the human being inside of us constantly.
Yeah.
Mm.
Even that's why Ishu says, be as wise as serpents, but as gentle as doves, because obviously they're pretty darn smart if he's mentioning it, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, we have to crack down their way of thinking
yep.
so that our operative system, which is serpent-like in a sense, the nervous system, is the tree of knowledge. And that's inside the tree of life. But if we live from the tree of knowledge and not discern the tree of life, then we are done. That's the problem. Probably that's the cause found by the fallen ones. No? They came here thinking it was going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they realize there are passions, that there are clouds of unknowing and ignorance that
Wow.
really drag you down. And it doesn't matter if you are an angel or the serpent, it's everything.
Wow. That's a deep pit. Yeah. But we all know that light reaches here.
Mm-hmm.
The light reaches into the darkness, even though sometimes darkness don't understand the light.
I have just realized that when the Israelites rejected the Torah because they worship the golden calf, there is a similar story, but with a different outfit in Greece when the Argonauts pursue the golden, well, it's not a calf, we call it Beyothin, the fleece, the golden fleece.
Please?
Fleece,
Like
F-L-E-E,
E.
like a ram or has wool.
Yeah.
It was the golden fleece or the golden, not ram, but yeah, it's like a creature that represents the astral body. So I wonder if the Israelites, which were worshipping Egyptian idols, because the golden calf was also present in Egypt, especially from the age of Taurus, when
Mm-hmm.
were built using bull representations.
Yeah.
Bull represents something physical or energies that are in the body, and it also represents sexuality or passions. So there seems to be a certain correlation. It's not the same because the fleece is the sublimation of all that. I think the astral body is the sublimation of certain energies that are in the body and they generate an astral body, which is a garment, the wedding garment.
Mm-hmm.
But the Israelites got caught up by the bull, the golden bull, so they applied too much value to certain energies in the body.
Mm.
And then they got bitten by serpents in the desert.
Yes.
Moses rose the metal serpent to make them see that the cause of their troubles were those serpent energies,
Mm.
which had to be neutralized in the pole.
Yeah.
Not much about raising the Kundalini. I think that's probably a misrepresentation, because if the Kundalini is an obstacle, as the Yajnavalkya text says, or other texts, then what we have to do is to stick it to the pole of consciousness. So there is a spinning vortex of prana or energy that dissolves that Kundalini. And maybe it gets reabsorbed because the energy of the serpent must come.
Yeah. Well, they say that's, I mean, scientists say that that's one thing, that energy is neither is created.
From
Yeah. So, not all energy has to, you know,
transform, be transformed.
yeah.
That's one of the law of thermodynamics. Yeah. The only mistake in those principles of thermodynamics is that you you don't have an open system in the universe, but a closed system where everything gets cooled down
Mm.
and loses energy because of the friction. But the Holy One managed to neutralize the serpent, even though energy gets stagnated in this kind of planet. But I don't think it's because of the Holy One, but because of the strategies brought by serpent beings and fallen intelligences that mix up
Yeah.
them.
They seen the mistake they made and they didn't want it to, you know, they wanted to contain it, even if you make a mistake, you don't want to broadcast it over the airways. You try to hide it. So that's, they made a mistake and they contained it, and and they used that serpent energy, to contain it, which obviously is
It's a device to keep people asleep or even animals.
yeah,
That's the explanation by Mr. Gurdjieff. He said that Kundalini was
absolutely,
to the human being to keep humans asleep. And
yeah,
we see that in myths, no, in the Popol Vuh, the Bible from the Mayas,
yeah,
is that the gods saw that human beings were evolving too fast, they were becoming too clever, and those gods cast a sort of dust of spell into our eyes. So that's like Genesis 2. Adam was alone. There was a presentation of different species. So Adam gave name to those species. Let's say different species became Adam or Adamic, but they were not the appropriate helpmate.
mm,
What's the meaning of that?
right,
It can mean that they were too animalistic but too clever at the same time.
absolutely,
You have Elohim, which obviously are many architects from nature, and they are not necessarily evil, but they said, well, if we keep those experiments,
uh-uh. No good.
humans too intelligent, so they
Woo.
split the species,
Yeah. Wow.
and from one side of Adam, they took,
Hmm.
they got rid of Lilith, which was the first sort of body, the sort of creature that pronounced the holy name, as it is said in the Zohar. She pronounced the name and became, to some extent, immortal. And this is what that energy is wandering, deviating men. Whereas Samael, the spiritual part, attacks humanity and women, is more deceptive. No? Samael is the unconscious part that generates one of the fallen angels. Asael is known. And then Lilith generates Asa. So those are the code names given in the Zohar to the following ones: Asa and Asael, from which Azazel, the goat, comes. No? That's why the Israelites used to place all the sins in a goat, known as Azazel, and they left the goat.
Run into the
Lo he
desert.
encontrado sin escote.
I don't know why Siri is asking me questions now.
Buena pregunta.
Artificial intelligences appear all over.
Yeah, that's crazy that you just said that, because what did they create, or is an entity capable of manipulating an intelligence to be artificial?
Mhm.
You know, can they reorganize a energy to be, well, I guess anything that's not, the definition of artificial is something that's opposite of the original. So I guess, you know, that's what they did, was they manipulated an energy, an original energy, and made it unoriginal, you know, in a way, you know. and and now it's an artificial intelligence, the serpent energy, artificial intelligence, but it's like super smart, quantum, quick, whatever you want to call it, all that artificial stuff. And you know, and they was like, oh, what did we just do? Now, and like a lot of people with are saying, hey, unplug that stuff. You know, now they're like, hey, we got to unplug this, or we got to contain it within itself so it don't spread out, you know.
I think the energy of the serpent is algorithmic, or it has an algorithmic intelligence. Algorithms are recursive procedures by which you can get a limited number of results in a limited number of timelines. No?
Mm,
So everything is set up, so to say.
right.
It's like a clockwise or counterclockwise intelligence. It works towards one side and towards the other. Obviously, it gets stuck in a loop.
Yeah.
Never gets anything new because all is old or repetitive. And I'm just wondering why Siri, which is a sort of intelligence within this Mac computer, I was speaking about the assassin. It starts speaking. It's as if a demon was entering the computer.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can happen. When you speak about something very high, this intelligence is.
Yeah, they said, what that's what Gorgev said, it comes 10 times. Once you start to wake up that little bit, it's tenfold right on you. But dump 10 tons of dirt over here, bury you, bury you again. But as we know, but that manure only allows us to grow stronger. You know what I mean? we, I said, I thought of, I had this thought yesterday of mature through the manure. You know how close them words are, mature and manure. You know, they're like two letters off.
The worse the circumstances, the better the results. That's what Mr. Gurjev.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Wow. And what tougher circumstances, you know, do we have here? So I mean, yeah, the tougher the circumstance are always you know, you raise out of that, and that seems like the best thing that could ever happen. You know what I mean? You raise out of that tough circumstance, and and something that may seem impossible, but even impossible says I'm possible.
Mhm.
So, you know, even in impossible circumstances, we know that the I am,
Possible, yeah.
yeah, you know, all the possibilities are here, right now.
Yes.
So, you know, and we could, which is, you know, beautiful when you think about it.
Mhm. That's very much like in Hebrew words. You can read them in one way or another.
Right,
The first word, Bereshit, can mean in the beginning, in the origin, in the head.
right,
Bara shit, which means generated six. the six Sephirot,
Wow.
or Brit Esh, the oath of fire. So it can be read in
Yeah. And it's beautiful, and it probably is all those things. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's so, that's so for all of us that ain't well versed in the language, that that understanding lays dormant. You don't get to enjoy that understanding and open yourself more to more possibilities. You know what I mean? Because the more understanding is the more possibilities. Even though every possibility is present, if you don't understand it, you can't truly utilize the possibility. So that's why you said that language and that Tower of Babel and and the linguistics is, as that what Gurdjieff, that's another Gurdjieff quote, is it? That linguistics is the like the highest study, that
Technology is a better way to truth than philosophy.
there it is. Yeah. Yeah, and that's so true. That's so true if you think about it.
Yeah, because languages were brought by these intelligences from other star systems. So it
Right.
makes language appear like that, which is not just a natural evolution from biological conditions. That makes no sense. Because languages are something so strange. How is it possible to have
Yeah. Yeah.
that by just evolution?
Wow. Yeah. Because they say, I mean, well, the sapiens before Homo sapiens, you know what I mean? They use grunts or clicks or hoots and hollers, you know what I mean, to communicate, So yeah,
Well, the primitive ape-like men.
yeah. And now you got, I don't know. It's a lot to contemplate, and it's very interesting,
It's interesting that in the Bible, I think it's Genesis 11, Nimrod, which is the king around which the Tower of Babel is,
Hmm.
is the hunter, and the hunter is Orion, and Orion is associated with Sirius, which according to traditions is the source of fallen angels. So
Yeah. Well, and didn't a donkey tell him something too? Was that Nimrod that the donkey spoke to?
no, what
Okay.
parable, but I think when Job is asked, can you unbind the belt of Orion? It's because the belt of Orion represents religion, politics, the culture in which we are immersed, which is full of traps, full of testaments or divisions. So can you unbind the belt of Orion? Means can you go through all these tricks of the fallen ones and go back to the primordial origin,
Wow.
the kingdom of heaven within,
Yeah, that's awesome.
are represented as a sweet influence, the Pleiades. So star seeds from those Pleiades maybe were the ones that came to help. And
Yeah.
the fallen ones were serious, not like sir, no, you are a serious person of the knowledge, no? But you are a fool. Actually, in Hebrew, then the name for Orion, which is Kasil, means idiot or fool.
Wow.
Fool from the Tao, no?
Yeah.
With a dog.
And yeah, and then Ishu says if you call somebody a fool, you have a possibility of falling into the, you know, hell, fires of hell, so to say. So yeah, you'd be kind of foolish not to look into it. Yeah, then the Orion's belt, then the pyramids are lined up with Orion's, with the stars in Orion's belt, right? Yeah.
The three pyramids were aligned in 10,500 BC, supposedly,
Yeah.
according to some computing calculation.
Did you see that I know this is way off topic, but Hollywood Men in Black, and they have and they're a cat. They're looking for this galaxy, and they think it's a big giant thing somewhere in a distant place, and the cat's and it's on Orion's belt. It's on the cat's collar, and and the galaxy is in there. And that's crazy. There's a cat, and then you got Orion's belt, and then every see they don't fall too far away from the script. You know what I mean? Even these entities, there's only so much that they're.
Yes, even the sort of pen they have to erase your memory.
Yeah.
There is, Kabbalah, they say there is an angel that puts us.
hmm
This is why we have this sort of,
yeah, I heard that before.
we have to shut up and forget about everything we saw in the spiritual realm, which is
Wow.
an allegory of how we lose our spiritual memory when we enter this physical, dense body.
Mm.
It's like a pen, no, from Men in Black.
Yeah. Yep.
The Greek
Absolutely.
said that we are forced to drink from the river Leteo, which means forgetfulness. No?
Yeah. And the pen's mightier than the sword. Make you forget. You don't need no sword.
But anyway, it's a fascinating subject.
It is. It could go on for lifetimes, obviously.
Well, let's hope we can make it in Dujuan.
Absolutely. That is my hope. I'm staying hopeful.
Because
I'm so very hopeful.
even if you have some understanding, you lose a lot. You forget and you have to start not from the beginning because you can continue where you left, but it's a risk. You can lose a lot if you are not already integrated in the tree of life.
Yeah.
We enter a sort of immunity when we are assuming the light. It's not that we are here to pay for karma or getting more perfect. We are here to bring the light and proclaim that the serpent has been defeated. We don't even have to defeat.
Oh man.
It's stupid, recursive, artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful, man. That's the good news right there.
Mhm. Anyway, let's continue another day.
Please.
Mhm. We can finish with a sitting if you wish.
Absolutely. Always nice.
Mm.